Hi everyone, this is Justine Rhodes, your host for Mentally a Badass. This podcast is dedicated to breaking the boundaries surrounding the mental health conversation. The stories you'll hear on this podcast are real, raw, and relatable, and come from people from different backgrounds because we believe mental health is global and does not discriminate. Welcome to the unfiltered side of the internet. Hey everybody, welcome back to Mentally a Badass. My name is Justine, and today I have content creator Tiana. We just met, and we're going to be talking about content creation and mental health. So she is a 22-year-old content creator. She's been doing content creation for about 8 years now, and her goal is to make content creation her full-time job and to work with huge brand. So we're going to go deep into that and, of course, talk about the mental health aspect of it. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to have you. So, and this is your first podcast too.
Yes.
How exciting. Do you feel nervous?
A little bit.
No worries. We're just going to make you even more nervous. Okay. Yeah, I'm very sarcastic and don't mind me. So we're going to hop into it. Let's first talk about wait, you just told me when you became a content creator.
Yes.
I am so good at this, guys. I am an amazing host, clearly. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what made you become a content creator?
In high school, during the Snapchat era, I would just post little vlogs on my story, and everyone was just like reacting well to them. They were like, "Oh, I love your Snapchat story," and they would like show their friends, and then everyone would just add me on Snap to watch my vlogs, and they were like, "You should take this to YouTube," and then I did.
That's awesome. How you doing on YouTube?
I actually haven't posted in like a year.
Oh, I clearly did my research, guys. I swear I usually do my research on guests, but I'm learning about you today.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So you mentioned that you haven't posted in about a year. So this actually is a good transition to my next question. Let's talk about some highs and lows that you've personally experienced as a content creator.
I would say that the highs are definitely like, when your video goes viral, when brands reach out to you and stuff like that. And the lows are the trolls and the hate comments and the days when your videos don't perform as well as you thought they would. So yeah.
So if you've dealt personally with trolls?
All the time.
Do you remember any comments from the top of your head? If you share yours, I'll share mine.
Well, yes, I just posted a video the other day about my least favorite trip because I post travel content. And I posted about my least favorite trip, which was Egypt. And mainly the people that were mad were Egyptians.
Oh.
And they commented nasty things under my video. I don't even want to say exactly what they said, but a lot of them were racist comments just because I didn't have a good experience in their country. So
that is such a jerk move on that, and it's like you're allowed to express your opinion.
Exactly. And it's what makes it worse is that it's like 60-year-old men commenting hate. And I asked him, I'm like, how does it feel to comment nasty comments under a 22-year-old girl's video? And you're triple my age. And he didn't respond.
They never do. No, for real. Like, they never do. It's like they'd like to just throw a comment and then sign out.
Right. It's like they forget there's a human who posted this video. Like, AI did not generate this TikTok. I made it, and it's a real human behind the video with feelings. But I just blocked him.
Oh, no, that's what you got to do. Do you want to hear my worst comment?
Yes.
Okay, so it was TikTok, and it was around, like, I'm pretty sure it was, actually, no, it wasn't even a pandemic yet. It was, like, right before the pandemic. And the person, oh, wait, no, sorry, it was during the pandemic. I was working from home. Because I remember I had a hard day at work, and I had a guest, like, screaming at me and being a jerk. So that was my last call of the day, and then I signed out and clocked out, and I look at my TikTok, and then there's a comment that someone told me to wrap a rock around my foot and then jump off a bridge.
What? You're laughing. It's not funny. That's crazy.
You can tell that you haven't known me for that long because this is how I act.
Oh my gosh. That's a new one. I've never heard anyone say that before.
You know, it'd be really funny is using part of this clip of you saying, like me saying the comment, I'm laughing, and you're like, you're laughing. Like, what a weirdo. I feel like it's so on brand for me, though.
It definitely would be.
Well, it was a while ago, so it's funny now.
Yeah.
Like, when it actually happened, I cried.
I would too.
Well, I only cried because I had a bad day at work, but if I didn't have a bad day at work, I would have been just fine. I've been like, haha, funny.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because you had a bad day, so seeing that made it worse.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly like trolls don't really bother me or really hurt my self-esteem. Like it's not my first rodeo. Like before even social media was like a huge thing. Like I was getting like bullied online with like yeah. Like okay, can we have a huge age gap here? So there's this thing called Form Spring. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Never heard of it.
It was around my time. Um so it was pretty much you can ask anonymous questions, which opens up a playground for bullies. And so people would say things to me like, "Oh, go and kill yourself," or "Oh, and tell me exactly how they want me to kill myself."
No.
And yeah, it was pretty like brutal. So yeah, I remember reading a comment once. I was like 16, and I read a bad comment, and I just closed my computer and I went to a Sweet 16.
That is crazy. Do you know what Ask FM is?
I do know what it is. Yes.
So, what is it called? Form Spring?
Form Spring. Yes.
That's like Ask FM.
I wonder. Yeah, so I know the name Ask.fm. I guess it's similar to the whole asking anonymous questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of wonder if it's like the same company. I don't think so. I think Formspring. I think they were forced to close because of all of the horrible comments and bullying. And honestly, like maybe they even got sued. I don't know because they literally opened up a jungle for bullies, and you know people who are like have a low self I mean I had a low self-esteem, that's a whole other story, but people could have potentially
right
off themselves, and so maybe stuff like that happened and they got sued. I have no idea obviously,
right
but I used to repost it on my Facebook, so on this day I will see some of these questions that were asked, not even asked, they weren't even questions, they were just like comments being like, oh, you're so fucking ugly,
oh my god,
oh, no one likes you.
it's not funny, it's really sad actually. And I hate that people are like that. I hate that people feel so comfortable saying whatever they want online.
No, for real. And honestly, when I look at it, I don't feel bad of myself. I feel bad for them.
Always, it's always them I feel bad for.
Yeah, because it's just projecting. So it's
right.
It's always people that either don't have a profile picture or have a picture of their truck.
And I was just saying that the other day on TikTok Live. I was in there talking to the group who had been in the live since I joined, and when it goes live on the TikTok For You page, and then random people start joining your live, that happened, and then people started like commenting like shady, like hate things, and of course, none of them had a profile picture, and that's what I said. I was like, it's always the people with no profile picture who say the craziest things. It's like, why aren't you showing your face?
Because they don't want to be recognized if you do see them.
Exactly.
And they are publicly acting like an asshole. So if people see that and see their face, that could be dangerous on their end. People can like jump them or even if someone reports it, let's say, like you can report the stuff to the police. Wow. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do that, depending on especially if you feel threatened.
Right.
I don't know if there's any laws around it at this moment, but if you feel like you're threatened online, then you can get the police involved.
I saw a situation kind of like that on TikTok. She's a big TikToker. She has 2 kids, and I think she has over 1 million followers. And she said that on TikTok, someone was commenting, basically like, I know where you live and stuff like that. And then she called someone to come fix something in her house, and it was an older man. And then when he got there, he was also making like similar comments that were commented under her her video, but he was saying them in person. So she, thought that that was the man, and she called the police and everything, and they told her, they were like, you really have to be careful. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, especially if you have like 1 million followers, you have to do everything you can to really protect where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it's public record, which is actually kind of scary.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think if you're like you can actually pay to have everything taken off the internet. I don't know how to do it, but I know it's a thing.
What about digital footprint, though?
Oh,
Like, wouldn't it? Someone still has access to it, I feel like.
true. I think if you're big enough, well, I mean, you it's really hard because like someone has 1 million followers doesn't necessarily mean that they have money.
Right.
I've literally have personally have heard stories of people who have 1 million of followers, but they are poor.
I've heard that too.
I've even like had like a friend who worked with one, and so I can confirm that. But it's kind of crazy, and you know why they're poor?
Is it because they choose to not like monetize off their followers?
No, it's because they don't know how to do business.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if these particular people have management teams, but it's really their like that's why they have them. It's because they're supposed to be the ones who know how to do proper business.
Right.
And if they don't like are not good at negotiating or getting the deals, then obviously you're gonna be poor. Like, and people have 1 million followers could be making bank. But another thing too is brands are definitely it's being a little harder to get brand deals for people, and I can tell you exactly why because I work on the other end. Um, so I'm gonna get excited because you mentioned that you want to work with brands.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you didn't buy any followers or do anything unethical.
No.
Yeah. Um, so there are systems where we can use where we can see if you have fake followers, if you've done like there's literally systems that can see the transparency of the actual account.
Mm-hmm.
And since I do have a client that sells skincare and hair care, we always get people in the DMs asking for collaborations. 95% of them are just gift the collaborations, which is currently what we're doing at the moment. And at first, we had a pretty simple criteria. It was like, okay, if you have over 1,000 followers and decent engagement, we'll work with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I've been noticing is that we're getting a lot of people who are pretending they live in the US because we used to work with a couple of international, but naturally shipping is super expensive. So we stopped doing that. And so, but now influencers are starting to hire like shipment companies or no, like transfers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know exactly if it was a transfer because of the actual address. So we accepted it just because it was a US address, so it wouldn't charge like the extra shipping. But since there's a middleman, there's been times where things have gotten lost or
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot more opportunity. So naturally, you're going to get returns. And I also have this theory that I'm kind of wondering if these influencers are even real or or it's just like some weirdo that's trying to get free product to like resell because I've seen some of the products on eBay.
No. What?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and I told my client this, and I'm like, I don't know if you're aware of this, and I mean, I'm the one who obviously monitors all this, and it's my job to protect your money, um, because even if it's gifted collaboration or not, like they're still spending money at the end of
right.
the day. It's like I've done gifted collaborations for my brand, and we're spending money, like
Mm-hmm.
like we're spending at least like $25 per person. Like I know that's not like a lot of money, but considering how small we are. Either way, they send out a lot of them. I'm kind of getting a little off topic. I need to go back to my point. So now I've been noticing this, so we don't accept those addresses anymore because they're lying and saying they live in the U.S. And so that's just sketchy, right?
That's definitely sketchy. I've never heard that before.
Oh my gosh, yes. And when I told my client, I actually had a meeting with him when I was in LA, and it was the first time I ever like met him. It was really cool. Anyways, I told him what I'm telling you right now, and he was like, "Oh, I had no idea." And I'm like, "Yeah, there's some like really unethical people out there who are taking advantage of free product, and I'm now being more strict on who I accept."
Right.
And sometimes they're being a little like snippy with me. And I've had them saying to me, "Oh, well, other brands accept this address." And I'm like, "Yeah, we used to accept the address, but we've been having some challenges and issues, so we just stopped accepting it." And I'm like, "You're saying you live in the US, provide us your residential address." And it's not like we're being sketchy. Like, they can see on our Instagram that we're legit and that people are receiving gifted collaboration. So we're not like gonna come to your house and kill you. So we have actual social proof. And it's like, maybe if you're really concerned, you can get a postal, like those US postal ones. Like, we can accept that. That's fine. But these like middlemans are usually for people to accept gifted collaborations, and they're like in a different country. And also, I found a way where I can see where their account is based.
Oh, wow.
So I have people who are like, "Oh, I live in the US." And I look at and I'm like, "No, you don't. You live in like Venezuela." And then they're like, "No, I swear. I really live in the US." I'm like, well, I don't tell them that I know.
Right.
I never accuse people of lying.
Mhm.
That's not professional. So, all I say is, unfortunately, we cannot just use these addresses. We only can accept residential addresses. Like, that's what I say. I don't say like, "You're literally lying to me right now. You live in Venezuela. You live in, oh no, or you live in." We're starting to get a lot of Cuba people from Cuba.
Mm.
Getting Cuba. We're getting Georgia. We're getting Morocco.
Are these big influencers that are doing this?
No, they're like maybe under 10K. Well, actually, there's some that are like, let's say 50K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are like, "Oh, it's fine. Could I say it?" I'm like, "Okay, well, we can't pay you." They're like, "Oh, I'm fine with the gift of collaboration." But then I look at like their engagement and I'm like, "Okay, you're fine with it because you didn't earn your followers." It's true. It's because if you worked really hard to earn these followers and to build this loyal community, you're going to want money, as you should.
Right.
So if you're out here just buying followers, literally anyone can just open up an Instagram account, buy like 30,000 followers, and then go to a bunch of brands being like, "Hey, can we do a gift of collaboration? I love your brand." And I love getting the ones that say, "Oh my gosh, I love your brand," and like they don't even follow us.
That happens to me, but I think there's scam emails and stuff.
Oh wait, let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
okay, so talk to me about that. So what kind of emails do you get?
I've gotten a Mango one. Do you know Mango? It's like a women's clothing store. They've sent me an email recently, or they sent me an email
Mm-hmm.
basically saying they wanted to collab, and I looked it up and it was like a scam email. I've gotten one from Shein, which was also a scam. I got one about, it was very vague. It said like an A-list celebrity is releasing like a lingerie type brand, and they want to know if you're interested in modeling. It would be 5K a month just to post, like, I guess it's like a strapless bra. Allegedly. I feel like it's fake. I didn't even respond to that one, but the Shein one and the Mango one were fake emails.
Yeah.
I got an email from a hotel in Thailand,
Uh-huh.
allegedly from the director of marketing, saying that he wanted to work with me. He found me on TikTok. He wanted to give me a complimentary stay at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I responded back,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't heard from him again. So I don't know if that was fake.
There's could be a possibility they may be reaching out to multiple people at the same time. Possibly maybe didn't see the email. Did you do a follow-up?
I did. I've emailed him twice.
Mm-hmm.
I think he emailed me like 2 weeks ago. I responded 2 days later, never heard back. And then I think about 4 days ago, I sent him a follow-up
Mm-hmm.
because in a couple days I'm going to Bali.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah. So I was thinking, why not stop in Thailand for a free 2-night hotel stay if it's going to be free
Mm-hmm.
and I'm already going to be on that side of the world,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not responding. So I don't think I'll go.
Yeah.
But I did follow up twice, still haven't heard back.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked up the hotel and who the director of marketing was, everything added up. So I feel like it was legit, but then again, it's hard to tell because it's coming from Thailand,
True. Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like there could be a chance he could have been reaching out to multiple people, because naturally we do that because not everybody responds.
Right?
So he was probably put into like an awkward situation. Let's say all the spots were filled and then you're interested. So he probably doesn't even know what to say, being like, "Oh, sorry." If it was me and I was in that scenario, I probably, well, first, I probably wouldn't email in a way like, "Okay, we're just reaching out to you. We want to work with you." I can just be like, "Oh, we're reaching out to travel influencers who are interested in doing XYZ," right? Do it like that, not like they're personally reaching out to just you and they're just focused on just you. So I think they just didn't know how to properly communicate that to
Right.
you. And if I were to do that and let's say all our spots are filled, I would just say, okay, so at this time we're currently filled and we'll reach back out for our next or like that's the proper way of doing business.
I
So,
agree.
but believe it or not, a lot of people do not have those skills.
Yeah, and I also want to say that it's because maybe like a language barrier because they are in Thailand. Like there were minor typos,
Mm-hmm.
and then like you said, like a personalized email. It wasn't personalized. I think it said like "Dear Family and Friends" or something instead of saying "Dear Tiana." So yeah, I'm sure it was like a mass email sent
Yes.
out.
That just confirmed it right there. Yeah. Well, now you know for the future.
Yes.
But of course, you know to don't take that personal. They just it's just because it's just more efficient. Like
Right.
we reach out to just naturally. Like okay, so another thing I do, well I'm not doing it at the moment, but when I do outreach for my client, like when they're just starting, so they're pretty much brand new. When you just start, they're just gonna do gifted collaborations. Because naturally they're small, they're startups. They don't have the kind of money to be risking it. Because
Right.
another thing too is that brands are putting the risk when they're paying money. But if there is a track record, let's say if you working with other brands and you have given results and case studies, then yeah, that's a different story. So the influencers pretty much just have to just be like, okay, it's kind of like a resume. Like, oh, I've done this for this brand. Anyway, I'm getting a little off track. So, what I would do is I would reach out to like 10 to 20 influencers a day that are small, that are around like 1,000, 2,000, and I would send them a template. I would make a template and it would be pretty generic. Saying like hey there instead of saying hey to the name because naturally it's gonna take me a little bit more extra time, but I kind of had to be efficient with it, and pretty much all the time they don't really care.
Right.
As long as the actual template is makes sense. So what I do is I talk about, oh yeah, this is what we do, and we're looking for influencers to try our products, and we just put everything in there, and out of those, let's say 10 people, 2 people reply.
That's
That's the
crazy.
average. Yeah. That's the average. So that's pretty much just supports my point. That's probably what he did.
Yeah.
Um, do you have a media kit?
No.
You should get a media kit. Do you know how to make one?
Canva?
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
Canva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend told me about it. I haven't made one. Yeah, like the brands that I've worked with, they've found me and
Hmm.
they've reached out. So I don't know, and even I have reached out to like Airbnbs and
Hmm.
other hotels. They didn't even ask for a media kit.
Oh, okay.
Like it was kind of like a question forum on their hotel website, and it was just, what are your social handles?
Hmm.
Um, when are you coming to this? When are you planning on staying? And it was never like a media
Yeah.
kit.
So my opinion on this, and I feel like this is actually turning into like a social media podcast. I mean, some of it's relevant. I'll keep some, and I'll take out some. But my advice to you is these brands that were reaching out to you, these travel ones, let's say, are they offering monetary compensation?
No.
That's why they're not asking for your media kit then,
Mm,
because it's easy for them to just give you a free stay. Simple, you
yeah.
know. Um, but if they're going to be paying you money, let's say they pay you like $1,000, they're giving you their money.
Hmm.
They're going to want to see a media kit.
Makes
So
sense.
that's usually where if you want money from people, from brands, it's just like a resume if you really think about it, a
Hmm.
resume for influencers. So I believe that's why. And I was gonna say something else, like oh, another thing I want to tell you, and I don't know if you know it, but I'm gonna tell you anyway to save you. If you receive, let's say, free night stay, 2 night free night stay, at the end of tax season, you have to report that, and then you can end up paying money.
I heard about that.
Okay, just letting you know so you don't get screwed over with taxes.
That's crazy though.
Yeah, it's because they write it off. So a business will, they're investing in marketing, and if they're giving you 2 night free stay, they're gonna put in their taxes like, okay, this is valued at let's say $400. That's gonna save them deduct $400 from their what they owe in taxes. So if they're gonna report that that's a gift that they provided to you, then in reality you have to pay the taxes on that, which really sucks. And a lot of influencers try to, I mean, if you're a big influencer and you make a shit ton of money, then they don't care because they have a shit ton of money and they can pay it back.
Right.
But if you're like, say, a smaller influencer and you don't have that kind of capital, you definitely want to keep that in mind.
Right.
And I actually have a friend. She lives in LA, and she has around like 60,000 followers, and she's an actress. She was on this show. It was a game show, and I think she won something that was like really expensive, and then she was like, yeah, I had to pay $5,000 in taxes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why do they call it a gift then?
It's really interesting because the actual name gift really means that there's no strings attached. But I think just another thing too, if I were to give you a gift, let's say, and it's over $10,000, like let's say I give you a car, I have to report that to the government because it's a lot of money, and they have to do that to make sure there's no sketchy stuff happening. And once you get the government involved, they want their money.
Right.
Yeah, it sucks. Well, it's America, so yeah. No, that was just my advice. I'm probably gonna like leave that out here, but unless then again, maybe I'll keep it on here. Maybe they want to know that information. But anyway, we're getting really off topic right now. So we did have good conversation about trolls. I think that is very important. So my question for you is, you already answered it. So how do you feel? Like, do you feel sad? Like, does it take like a hit to your self-esteem?
Well, first, I don't always block them.
Okay.
Like sometimes I'll clap back. I'll respond. They give me hate, I'll give them hate right back, depending on the day. I don't recommend doing that. I'm still new to it. But yeah, sometimes I'll block them, sometimes I'll respond back. Like the troll that I told you about that was commenting racist things under my video the other day, before I blocked him, I was doing a little back and forth. I'm not gonna lie. Because I just felt that that day, like, I just needed to like teach him a lesson because he was really hitting below the belt, and it was just out of pocket comments. I'm like, you just can't get away with saying that on my page. Before I block you, I'm gonna tell you something and then I'll block you. But sometimes I just turn my comments off. Like if it's too many people being negative, I'll turn my comments off. So I posted that same video that got a lot of hate on TikTok. I posted it to Instagram Reels. And right now we're sitting at like 23K views. And I think last night I turned the comments off because people were, in a way, victim blaming me. Like they're not taking accountability for what happened. Like I mentioned how, so basically the video that I'm referring to, I said Egypt was my least favorite trip. One of the main reasons why is because the men are very aggressive and they don't take no for an answer. And when I said that in my video, a lot of people were kind of just siding with the men and blaming me for me being harassed and me being followed. So, and it was just an overwhelming amount of people that were saying the same thing. So eventually yesterday I turned my comments off. I did respond to some people just to let them know, like, this is not what you should be doing. I understand that you may love this country even though you're from there, but when people do things that are not right, you can't stick up for them no matter how much love you have for them or where they're from. So, yeah, I did clap back and I did block them, and then sometimes I turn the comments off.
Yeah, I guess it really just depends on the comment, and I'm the same way. I mean, the one that told me to jump off a bridge, I didn't respond to that one because what I'm going to say?
Yeah.
Like, but there was a comment. It wasn't to my post or anything like that. I have this really bad habit of looking at comment sections of other people's posts, because naturally I like doing that to see what people are saying about the post, just, conversation.
Me too.
Yeah. And just lately, ever since the pandemic, I feel like it's just getting worse. There's been a lot more negativity, and I think everyone is going batshit crazy. Like, I literally was doing some engagement for a client, and they are in the food industry. So I was engaging with people who are making food, and it's fun stuff. And people are getting mad over like burgers or something like that. Oh, it was cauliflower. That's what it was. It was basically this vegan person who called the cauliflower like a substitute of it was like a steak cauliflower. But the reason he said that, it was because the way he was cooking it, it looked like a steak.
Mm-hmm.
But he's vegan, so he's not eating meat. So he just said, "Oh, cauliflower steak." I think that was just what he named his dish. And
Right.
people were like so bothered and so mad. I was like literally looking at these comments, and part of me wanted to like say something, but I had to remember I am not me. I am my client, and that would be very unprofessional. I should not
Right.
be doing that. But sometimes I have to like, oh my, I just like, oh my God, people are just so, it's so hard to not reply to these idiots.
I
Even
agree.
though, sorry, I was gonna say, even though it's not directly to me, I just like, I can't. It gets me so mad.
Me too. I hate seeing people be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Because they could have ignored it. And I was just telling my friend the other day, like when I see something I don't like in a video, I just scroll. I don't
Right.
take time out of my day to comment what I didn't like about it and how I feel. I just scroll.
Right.
Like more people need to apply that.
Exactly. And if it's something I don't like, but it's like, I'm just confused, let's say something I don't like, but I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just interpreting it incorrectly. So then I'll just ask a question. That's how I'll start the conversation. But yeah, no, I don't just randomly comment and be like, wow, this person's so fucking annoying. Like I don't do that. And I feel like I want to say something else. Today, actually, before you came, I was on Facebook and there was this reel. Actually, I'm gonna transition into being frustrated with clout chasers. So there was this video, and it was a clip from Selena Gomez's documentary, and it said, "Oh, Selena Gomez got paid 100K for this interview," and the interview was when this journalist was saying, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" It was just a bunch of stupid questions, like, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" or "What's your?" It was just so simple, and so she was annoyed by it. She was like, I feel like that was a waste of time. And then people were commenting. They're like, like this. Oh, she's so ungrateful. People make that in a year, and this is and that. And I wasn't being mean. I just comment. I'm just to educate the person, because who knows? Maybe they really thought that, and that's fine. So I said, so it was a publicity interview. She does not get paid for this. She actually pays a publicist to find these interviews for her. So if you're paying somebody to get you these interviews so you can get the publicity and the exposure for whatever you want to talk about, and they're asking you these dumb questions, wouldn't you be mad about that? Wouldn't you feel like that's a waste of time? Like, even though Selena Gomez is obviously rich and she has a lot of money, it's also just the principle. Like, the whole waste of time. It's like she's a busy person. She's not going to want to be sitting in a room for like an hour talking about what her favorite color is.
Right. I would
Yeah.
feel some type of way about that too.
Exactly. So I just commented just saying like, "Oh, just let you know, if she doesn't get paid $100,000, this person just put that on their reel just to get views because they know that that's going to piss people off."
Clickbait.
Exactly my point. And then, and I said, I can tell you that she was on a publicity tour. She did not get paid for that. Yada yada. I just told you what I told you. And he comments back. He was like, "No, it was a publicity trail. Of course she's going to get paid." And I'm like, okay, so fun fact, I have a really good friend that's in the industry, and he owns a PR agency in New York City. So he's always surrounded by celebrities. He's the one going out there getting their interviews, doing their whole like their image and whatever. Like he's literally in that world. So anything he tells me, I'm going to believe him. He's actually there. He's experiencing it. So he put on his Instagram story that when after he watched that clip, he was like furious himself. He was saying that she needs to get a new PR team because that is like who's her PR team? Like he said something like that. And it makes sense. So anyways, I commented that back saying like, oh, I know this because of this, and then he just deleted his comment.
He knew he was wrong.
But he was so confident in his answer to me. He put like an LOL at the end. Like he talked to me. It was a little condescending.
They always are.
Yeah. And then I just like, I'm all about having a productive argument. Like I'm fine with that. Like if you want to have a productive argument, I'm like challenge me. Like if I'm wrong, please challenge me. And so when he said that to me, all I said back was, okay, what is your source? I think that's a valid question. It's like if you're gonna be thinking you're spitting facts at me, what's your source? What is your source? Because my source is my friend who works in the industry, and then he deleted his comment.
They never have a source. They don't have one. They made it up.
And that's just called arrogance.
And they're always so confident, and they talk down on you, and then they're wrong.
So when he deleted the comment, I just died. I was like, okay. He probably when I brought up the friend in the PR industry, he was probably like, okay, no shit, I can't manipulate her now because she's actually she actually knows what actually happens in that world. And yeah, so I really do like having a friend in that world because I find that some interesting things. Yeah, so that was pretty nice, but that was just today. I thought that was funny.
Really? That was today?
Yeah, it was today.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway, I have a bad habit of, because it's really like I don't have to be doing that. Like there's no need for me to jump into comments and educate people.
Right.
And, obviously they didn't ask for it. And I think I'm just like, I kind of did it out of first I was annoyed. I rolled my eyes and I was like, do people really believe this bullshit? And first of all, how would they even know if she does get paid? How would they even have that kind of information? You got to think about that too. It's like, how would you even get your hands on that?
I don't know. And I feel like a lot of things on the internet, like a lot of reels and things like that, a lot of them are clickbait and people see a couple words and they take it and they run with it. Like one person could make up a headline, post it, it'll go viral and now everyone's talking about it, but it doesn't exist because one person made it up.
Oh my gosh, I can give you another example. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, so it was actually about the Kardashians. Hey guys, pausing the podcast here. Hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave a review. That would be amazing. But I just want to talk about what I am currently wearing. If you can see me, most likely I'm in audio for you. But if you don't know and you just found me looking for a podcast, on mentallyabadass.com, we do sell apparel and it's adorable. Y'all should check it out right now. If you can't see me, I am wearing a shirt that says, all I want this year is sleep. I'm sure you can relate to that. So, want to hop on, let you guys know. Also, we have a newsletter that we'll love you to sign up for so we can stay connected. We send it once a month, so don't worry, we're not going to harass you. And also, don't forget to follow our Instagram account at Mentally a Badass. All right, now back to the show. I'm sure you know, just like everybody in this world knows, that a lot of the majority of society, not majority, the majority of the mainstream public, let's say, they hate the Kardashians. They think that, oh, they're just like, they have no talent and they, plastic surgery is really what making them famous and they're not doing anything with their lives. It's all about their big butts and blah, 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 right?
And I love the Kardashians.
I love the Kardashians. Oh God, I'm glad you do, so we can have this conversation. I'm glad you're not like a hater.
No.
I love them because, at first when I was younger and like, I don't know, I didn't that's only because you're influenced by the people around you.
Definitely.
Especially when you're a kid. If you're told, oh, these Kardashians, they're a bunch of sluts. And I mean, we do know that Kim skyrocketed with the sex tape and everything like that. But that was a long time ago. Give some girls some slack. And still today people bring it up.
I saw an interview about it yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're having a new interview about it, and Ray J is like down talking Kim.
It's crazy. Like, how long ago was that? Like 20 years? Almost 20 years.
Something like that. It was too long ago for it to still be a thing.
That's where it's just like disgusting. It's like, why are people doing that? As we know, people are just bored and pathetic. So anyway, my point was, so in that episode, there was an episode where it was about the whole Marilyn Monroe controversy. And when she was getting ready for the gala and such, she was on TikTok, I think, or whatever, getting her hair done. And she says, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that there's some people out there who's never heard of Marilyn Monroe until the whole controversy." And so that's what she said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Like, if you're in shock, I mean, I'll be in shock too. Like, oh, wow, they didn't heard of Marilyn Monroe. But also keep in mind, there's younger generations.
Right.
So as the younger the generation goes, the less likely they're going to know about an older icon.
Right.
So, anyway, so there was some like news article or whatever, and the headline was, Kim Kardashian is shocked that people only knew about Marilyn Monroe because of her, or something like that. Something like it basically made her sound like she was full of herself. Like, oh no, I think it said like Kim Kardashian says some younger people only know about Marilyn Monroe because of her, or so. It was something where it would trigger some anger.
Right.
And whoever wrote this article knows that people hate the Kardashians. So obviously it's going to do well because people love to hate.
They do.
And that's the reality, is that people love hating. So someone that I knew shared the article on Facebook, and it was just the headline. And a lot of people don't even click on it. Because if you actually read the article, if you actually read it word from word, the person who wrote it did say, oh, what the actual scene was actually true. So if you read the article, you realize, oh, so she's not an asshole. She's not full of herself. And it's like, because legally, the journalist has to write true words.
Mm-hmm.
They can't they can't write anything that's incorrect if they're getting paid for it, of course. But they're allowed to do clickbait headlines as long as there's some truth in it. So, yes. Anyways, I commented on that, and I asked the girl, and I was like, "Did you read the article?" And she said no.
They never do.
And I was like, okay, well, if you read the article, you will see that and I told her what I just told you, explained, and I said to her, I'm like, I actually saw the scene of the actual show, and that's what happened. And clearly whoever wrote this just watched that scene and tried to make an article about it to make some money.
Right.
So anyways, I told her that. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right, I get it, but I still hate her. And I was like, okay, I mean, you can, whatever. Like, it's your opinion. Your opinions, it's your opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion. I was just trying to have you understand that this person was just trying to make you hate her.
Right.
Which is so disgusting.
It is. And I saw, now they're not calling it clickbait anymore. Now they're calling it rage bait.
What?
On TikTok, they call it rage bait. Like, I guess if it makes you mad.
I've never heard of that. No way.
I found out about it on TikTok. I'm like, what is rage bait? It's basically like clickbait, but I guess it makes you mad or something.
I'm getting old. Oh my god. This is my first time hearing of this.
Yeah, rage bait is the new thing. And it works every time.
And it's so unhealthy, like, because we are human, and if we do see something where it pisses us off, we just feel more of that anger, and it's so damaging.
Right.
It's super damaging, and then you're just gonna like be mad at the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this documentary, it's called The Social Dilemma. Did you watch it?
Never heard of it.
It's on Netflix. It came out before, I think it came out like 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching it, and I didn't like it in the beginning because I didn't like how they were blaming social media on people. Like, oh, if social media is the reason people have shitty mental health, because I believe people should be accountable for what they do. Like, because you can use social media in a positive way.
Definitely.
Like, you could be inspired, because social media is just like, it's just media. It can be like a magazine too.
Exactly.
Like, if you're looking at photos, and so that's why I was like, I don't like how they're just putting social media in a light that it's just all bad, because that's not true.
I hate seeing that too, because in a way, you control what you see online. Like, you follow these people because you want to see their content.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. You can always like change I don't know what the word is.
You just have to teach the algorithm to show you stuff that are positive.
Right. It's only damaging if you let it damage you.
Exactly.
Because there's people who don't have that issue and they love social media. They just are controlling what they see. They're only seeing the positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as you take the proper precaution, it's fine. Like so then I watched it again recently because now I have a different mindset because now I work in social media full time.
Right.
So I wanted to watch it and I get what they were saying. And I started to agree with certain things because obviously in the beginning, pissing people off, of course. And what it was saying that the main message of it is that social media is unhealthy to our society, and in a way that it's showing you bits and pieces of something. It's pissing people off. It's creating like a war inside our country. You already know like what's been. If you lived in the U.S. like these past like couple of like 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
we've been more divided than ever, and a lot of people are saying are blaming certain things, but I think it's obviously a little bit of both. But what the actual um message was is that what's making people more divided is misinformation
I agree.
about both sides. So it's like if you think about the algorithm, right? Let's say I don't really like to go into politics, but let's say you're a Democrat, let's say, or whatever. You're gonna see what you want to see. And let's say you're Republican, you're gonna see what you want to see. So the algorithm it's not smart enough to not make you want to punch somebody in the face. They're just all their job is just to show you what you want to see. So if you want to hate on the other party, they're going to show you things that are going to make you hate them more.
Exactly.
So that's why I like to have conversations off social media, because I know how it can it can literally dominate the way you think towards somebody, even if it didn't mean something. So there is a lot of misinformation out there because it's not regulated like the news. The news sucks too, but it's a little bit more regulated. So if you really think about it, if like, okay, let's say I see something and I'm like, and we talk about it, and you're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And in my head, I'm like, how do you not know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then what it said is like, because we don't have the same feed.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't have the same feed. So like sometimes my boyfriend would talk to me about something and I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, you didn't know about this? I'm like, no. Because we have different interests.
Right. And on TikTok they call it like you're on a different side of TikTok because there's so many
Exactly. Yeah,
different
I've heard
sides.
that. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's I'm sure I've divided at one point, but it's definitely TikTok. I love TikTok. So don't get me wrong.
Me
Trust me,
too.
I do not want to ban. I'm not on that side. But
Right.
it definitely has caused some rage because of how the algorithm is. And it's an algorithm that's never happened in our society. So as a society, we just need to figure out what we can do to not be manipulated by it. It's just taking precautions. And another thing too on Instagram, which is really good that you told me today that you keep your notifications off, because I do that
Yeah.
too. Because if you're away from Instagram, let's say 5 days, Instagram's going to keep pinging you saying,
Yeah.
oh, this person posted a photo. They just do anything to get you on the app.
Definitely.
So ways of doing that is just don't turn on notifications. That's one example, because if you keep them on, you're going to be more addicted.
Right. I have my notifications off for every social media platform.
Me too. You know how many times I get like, oh, turn notifications on. You don't want to miss this.
Yes, I do. I do want to miss it. I want to break. I only want to see about Instagram, TikTok, or Snapchat when I click on the app.
Exactly. Not when social media dominates you.
Yeah, I don't care who's going live right now. Like, I'll see it when I see it.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And then when I message somebody on TikTok, it says, oh, you don't want to miss their reply. Turn on notifications. And I was like, they can wait.
Exactly. It's not that big of a deal. I'll see it when I see it.
Like sometimes I'll just like keep like notifications on my phone, like do not disturb.
Me too. Mine is on D&D right now.
Me
As we
too.
speak.
Yeah, no, me too. Well, I had to do that because my computer's all connected to the ID. So if we get like
True.
a notification, it will like bing on my computer. So we don't want that. But yeah, I love the whole do not disturb thing.
Me too. And then if you like Do Not Disturb, you'll love Sleep Mode.
Yep, I have that on too.
It's like top tier.
Okay, so this is a good question to transition since we talked about the social dilemma. So, how do you think social media platforms can support a creator's mental health?
How do I think they can support a creator's mental health? One way that I feel like I think they can is TikTok already does it. They have a section in the comments where you can accept or deny comments. They naturally filter them out.
Oh, that's true.
So the comment that I was telling you about that was racist, I didn't even see it at first because TikTok filtered it. After I responded to his other comments, because he commented like 3 different comments and they were all like paragraphs under my video. After I responded to each one, I scrolled to the bottom and it said like, we filtered comments like accept or deny. And that's when I saw like the extremely racist stereotypical comment. And I'm like, shout out to TikTok because I genuinely would not have seen that because they filtered it out. So I'm glad that they protected me, but I still went and found it myself. But yeah, they filter comments for you. I think that's one way they can support creators' mental health. Also, I know Twitter, they like you have words that you can mute. So like if you don't want to see anything about like PTSD, for example, you can mute the word PTSD and you won't see anything that any tweets that have that word in it. So I feel like those are good ways that social media platforms can support a creator's mental health just by letting them choose what they want to see.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Instagram does the same thing. If you go to your settings, you can put in some words that you don't want to see.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
And I've never used the mute feature where you can mute words. I just never felt like I needed to.
So yeah, so I think the filter thing is a great idea. I wish there was, and this is not even like the social media platform's fault, or maybe it is. I don't know. But besides like dealing with trolls and such, like I feel like there's a lot more that content creators deal with, like burnout.
Definitely. And like creator's block where you can't think of what to make for content.
Yeah, no, I experienced that. So also just like the algorithm constantly, well, not the algorithm changing because they don't change, it just gets smarter. But they've been like coming out with so many different things, like 3 times a month. And it's so hard to
Like new
keep track.
features? Is that what you mean?
Like updates. So there was these last 2, I don't know if you're familiar with. Well, one was they recommend, not recommend, they say that if you actively you're saying, hey, comment on my post, and they would basically not recommend that video.
I've heard so many different things about Instagram and it's so hard to tell if they're accurate.
At the debunk them.
Yeah, at the content creator meetup, I was talking to a girl and she was basically telling me that what I had heard what I had heard about Instagram was not true. And what I heard about Instagram came directly from someone, it was an influencer. I don't even follow her. Her video just popped up, but she said that she just got off a call with Instagram and Instagram shared these tips that would help your page grow. And it was like, I don't remember every tip, but one of them specifically was don't use any more than 8 hashtags. Even though you can use, I think, up to 30 before they shadow ban you, she said that the people that she was on the phone with at Instagram said no more than 8. And when I was talking to someone at the content creator event, she was like, no, that's not true. Like, I use a bunch and I have this many thousand followers and this is what works for me, because I was implementing what this influencer was saying that Instagram told her. So I just feel like it's different for everybody. I don't know.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen that video myself. And this is my feedback to you is the number. Okay, so the number they're saying, I wouldn't go exactly by that number. I think what Instagram is trying to communicate is to not have like a million hashtags because sometimes people just put anything. So what they're looking for is more like niche down because your hashtags are pretty much communicating to the algorithm what your video is about. that video that you're referring to did come out a while ago. So right now, Instagram is becoming very SEO based. So now they're saying like, don't even worry about hashtags. Just in your copy, make sure you're being very obvious of what you are talking about. This one, I don't really agree and disagree. It's really a difficult one because I've done both, where I would not put hashtags and I would still get reach. And then when I put hashtags, it's the same situation. So it's like really difficult. But if you had my recommendation, I would say putting a couple is fine to be like very niche down. Like, for example, with this being mental health, I I have a post scheduled for Sunday, and it's about childhood trauma and like rewiring your brain. So it's a little bit, it's very niche down the actual video because I talk about my personal experience. But when it came to the hashtag, I put like hashtag childhood trauma, hashtag childhood trauma recovery. Like I stayed with just that particular words so they can know to push it to people who are scrolling and hooked on to childhood trauma related videos. So that's what I do. I don't think there's anything that I don't think it would hurt your video unless, like I said, unless you're just putting some random stuff like hashtag explore, hashtag, like just such random stuff. Because sometimes people do that, and I don't like it because I feel like it kind of like makes people look a little desperate, like they're
Yeah.
trying a little too hard. And when you put too many hashtags, the algorithm gets pissed off because it's like I said, it's reading that, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're annoying me. Like I don't want to deal with you. Bye. Like, like. So you pretty much just have to feed the algorithm and just kind of do it in a proper way. And I think if you don't have hashtags, just have a very hefty SEO based um, copyright. So that's really my advice. And but it's really it's a gray area. It's because some things work for some people, some things it doesn't work. So it's
Yeah.
really difficult. I don't know if this girl actually got off a phone with Instagram. To be honest with you, I've never even heard of something like that. I've have been contacted by Instagram recently, actually about being a part of like a marketing survey, and it pretty much asks creators like certain feedback and such. But I don't think I qualify because it never called me. Basically, you just fill out a, and I was want to see if it was real because I would get concerned if it was like a scam.
Right.
But I did a lot of googling, and it was real. So yeah, they use a third party for their marketing, and I just fill out the form. But yeah, I don't think I qualify because they never called me. But I'm assuming if I were qualified, they actually get on a phone call with you, this marketing team that's connected with Instagram, and they ask you all these questions. So you're on like a Zoom call. So maybe like this was this call that she was referring to.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
what
know.
she was referring to, but that wasn't the first time that I saw a video of an influencer saying that they just got off a call with Instagram and Instagram told them that these are the tips that are going to help them or help their page grow even more. Because, then again, they are already influencers, so they already have a bigger following.
Hmm.
So I guess,
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that this influencer I do know, I do talk to her a lot in the DMs. She has about maybe like around 60-ish as well.
hmm
And she was getting a lot more following on TikTok. So she's like definitely in like maybe 200,000, 300,000, I don't know. But I think TikTok did invite her to the office. I think because she recorded it. So, I mean, maybe they do handpick people and they do have conversations. So that woman could have been right. But I think a lot,
do you know if she was doing anything special though to get invited to the TikTok headquarters?
to be honest with you, it was so long ago. I mean, I could ask her.
I was just wondering because it's a girl that I follow and she got invited to the TikTok headquarters, but I feel like it was because of her TikTok live page. Like
Mm,
her live would go crazy. She would get like all these gifts, so much engagement and all that stuff.
hmm.
So I feel like that's why she got invited to the headquarters.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Because there's so many influencers and content creators on TikTok. It's like, how can you just pick to bring these 10? You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like, how can you choose to fly out these influencers to LA but not these? It's just, I don't understand how they pick.
right. Well, I'm sure that they have data. because it's I'm sure they can pull some data from creators and look at their algorithms, and they'll probably maybe AI will recommend, oh, they have more engagement. I think essentially it's really all about engagement. It's really all about what the people are saying. So if okay, guys, we had some technical difficulties, and I had no idea where we were before, but I think we got some really great conversation. So my last question for you is, I always like to ask a little advice from, let's say, a content creator is listening to this right now, and they're struggling, and they're like, oh my gosh, I just want to stop content creating because my life sucks. What is your advice to them?
My advice would be to keep going. It's very cliche, but it's very true. Consistency is key, and you're not alone. We've all felt like we wanted to give up at some point, and I actually have. That's a whole nother story, but nonetheless, we've all felt like we wanted to give up, and you just really have to keep going, especially when you feel like you want to give up. That's when you really need to go harder. Your breakthrough is coming.
You're so right. Like, especially at the time you're just like, okay, I'm done. And yeah, you're right. Just keep going. Like, you never know if your next video is gonna like go viral.
Exactly, and they always say all it takes is one video. And that's so true because one of my videos blew up randomly the other day, and I gained 1,000 followers from it.
Oh, that's cool.
And I didn't think that video was gonna get 80,000 views, but it did.
That's really TikTok or Insta?
TikTok.
Oh, I gotta follow you on TikTok.
Yes, it's my travel page.
I don't know if I do. Maybe I do follow you.
I think so. Well, maybe I passed.
I think I
my
do.
phone. You might.
I think so. I think I did follow one person from the creator event, and I think I remember it did say travel.
It might have been me.
Maybe. Oh, I'll check after this. But anyway, thank you so much for driving super far away to come to my household.
20 minutes.
Oh, it was only 20 minutes?
Yeah.
I thought it was 40.
No, I live in Winter Garden.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
20 minutes.
Hey, I didn't know where you lived. So I was like, oh my God, like I feel bad I should drive like an hour to come here. But thanks for 20 minutes is still 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And still your time. But anyway, so guys, I am going to put all of her information for TikTok and for Instagram in a description. But if you don't like to read, her Instagram is you say that because I can't remember.
It's the Tiana Taylor with 2 R's at the end. And my TikTok is Tiana Travels with 2 S's. And that's it.
Awesome. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for next week's episode.